Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Samantha. Thank you so much for joining me. So in this video, I'm just going to show you one way that you can keep your hair moisturized when it's in a protective style. So many of us like to put our hair in protective styles during the winter season, but also a lot of us experience dry hair in the winter season. So I'm not saying this is the only way or the best way, but this is definitely one way that I've managed to keep my hair moisturized, and that's why I wanted to share with you in case you need something like this. So as you can see, my hair is in box braids. These are actually knotless braids, and it's my first time really to have proper knotless braids where there's no knot at the bottom. They start off with the hair and then add the extensions as they braid down. And I will talk a little bit about that in another video because I've really loved having these knotless braids. But what I found was my hair was starting to get really dry, and so the products I'm using, one of them is the Sulfur 8 Braid Spray, which I've talked about in a previous video, and also this Rosemary Mint Hair Butter by Sunny Isle, another one I've talked about before, but this is a new one. So this is a grease by Dark and Lovely, and grease has really come back into onto the scene, and a lot of people are using grease as a sealant, and that's why I wanted to use it myself. I do use some grease like Blue Magic, and this one was new to me, and I really like the smell of this one, and because it melts, and that's why I wanted to use it. And I'm going to use one of my hair growth oils. I always have a batch on hand, and this is the one I'm using. So if you want to retain length, it's important to keep your hair moisturized. So box braids are great, but if you're not taking care of your hair while your hair's in box braids, then it's all pretty pointless, So I don't want to use too much because I don't want to get a lot of product buildup. I will get some, of course, but I want to minimize that. So I'm just going to use, it'll take about half a teaspoon to a teaspoon. I'm just eyeballing it. I'm not measuring it exactly. And I'm taking half a teaspoon of the rosemary butter, half a teaspoon of this grease, and then in terms of the oil, I just want to loosen it all up. So I'm going to add roughly 2 teaspoons of the oil. So I'm not saying you have to use a growth oil or these specific products, but it's just making sure that you have something that has petroleum in it, which is a good sealant, and that's what grease is all about, and then an oil. So you can use any penetrating oil. It doesn't have to be a sealing oil because we've got a sealant already. We don't need a sealing oil, and that's why I'm not using my castor oil, which I generally use as a sealant, because I just didn't want to get a lot of buildup when I take these down. But I do want to be able to keep my hair moisturized for longer. So I've added all those products, the 3 products, into this little bowl, and I'm just mixing them well just to make sure that they're thoroughly mixed. You don't need to blend or anything fancy. Just mix it with a teaspoon and you're good to go. And then I'm going to apply the spray. So I start off by spraying at my roots because it's just my hair there, so I want to make sure that my hair is moisturized, but also that my scalp is moisturized. So I like the spray because it's medicated. It's got salicylic acid in it, so it does help with dandruff and itch. So that's why I'm making sure that some of this goes onto my scalp. But obviously I don't want to super saturate my hair. I'm pretty much misting it so that I just dampen the hair and dampen the scalp. Our hair is quite fragile when it's soaking wet, so you do want to minimize that. And also because we're going to be adding oils to the hair and the scalp, we don't want those oils to be running off our scalp, and we know that water and oil don't mix. So if your hair is super wet, it's not going to be able to absorb the oil. Whatever you apply is just going to run off. So I'm just going to be massaging very gently again because I've got these knotless braids. So, and I've just sprayed this liquid onto my hair. So you do want to be gentle. You should always be gentle with your hair, to be honest. I don't see any reason to be rough with your hair. And then I sprayed some of this spray directly onto the braids because I've got hair down the braid, and then I'm just going to squeeze that liquid into my braids because just spraying it on isn't going to be enough. I want some of this to get right down through the braids, right onto my actual hair. So that's why you see me squeezing it as I go. And I just take my time just to massage, and you will feel the areas that you haven't sprayed so that you can top up. But also you start to feel a difference in your hair when your hair has received that moisture and it's no longer feeling dry. Your hair is feeling more malleable, and then you know that you've put enough. And now I'm just going to apply some of this directly onto my scalp because I want to use it as a scalp emollient. Petroleum does get a bad name, but it's actually really good for the scalp and the skin. That's why you see people with eczema, the products that are recommended for them, most of them will have some petroleum in them or liquid paraffin because that helps to heal the skin, but also it helps to seal in moisture. So I want to make sure that my scalp doesn't get dry, flaky and itchy. So that's why you see me applying some of this onto the scalp. But because I added that rosemary mint hair growth butter by Sunny Isle, I also want to stimulate growth, and that's why you'll find that I'm massaging it onto the scalp. Also, don't forget I added some of my growth oil, so I make sure that it goes onto the scalp. And I'm just taking my time. I know I've sped up the video a little bit here just for the sake of time, but I make sure that every single inch of my scalp is covered. Because I don't want to miss any spots. So I go in two directions, first of all horizontally, and then going, up the way and then horizontally. You know what I mean? It doesn't really matter which direction you start off with, but just to make sure that, you're going in both directions so that you don't miss any spots. And it doesn't matter if you miss spots here and there because we are going to massage at the end of this, so that every inch is attended to. And we know that massaging the scalp is really good for stimulating scalp circulation. So you do want to take your time and just massage, and it just feels good. So you see me moving there. I wasn't dancing, to be honest. I'm just on a goal to get fitter, healthier. So I was actually just doing my steps, getting some steps in while I was doing this, because I was going to massage for a few minutes. And I thought, well, I'll just take the opportunity. And it just feels good. Movement is good for the body, it's good for the soul, it's good for the mind. And exercise is also really good for boosting circulation throughout your whole body, including the scalp. So after taking some time, just making sure that I massaged this, I then attend to the actual hair that's in the braids. So I don't want to put any of this, any of the growth butter onto my hair, because it's really not meant for that. It's for the roots, to strengthen the roots and to stimulate hair growth. So instead, I actually use some of the grease. And again, because it's a sealant, the purpose of using the grease on my actual braids is to seal in the moisture, and that is how the hair that is locked or tucked away in my braids is going to stay moisturized. So again, I apply some, massage some onto the scalp, and then just do a little bit of a squeezing motion again, just to make sure that the product gets down to the hair as much as possible. Now, you're not going to get this whatever products right down to the hair soaking wet, because that's not what I'm aiming for. If you wanted to do that, of course, that's up to you. But as you can see, I just wanted to moisturize my hair and my scalp, and now that's done, I'm just going to put it in a secondary protective style, which we've talked about, and that's just putting it up there, and that just helps to reduce friction. If you leave your hair down for too long, it does start to rub on your clothes, and then yeah, it's a bit of a mess. So I just wanted to show you there that I didn't actually use all of that up. There's actually enough for another session because we don't want to add too much. That's more than enough. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. Before I go, just want to give my subscribers a massive thank you because your love and support are helping the channel to grow. I'll have another video for you real soon. Until then, take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, and God bless. Bye for now.